that you have come to this house of worship today. Yes, and it is good you have come because the shapocalypse is coming. Yea, it is nigh around the corner. And if you do not wish to fall to that illness of affluenza, if you do not wish to be doomed to the hell of clutter and waste, if indeed you have already overspent, ye must repent. And the people all said, Amen. Yes, I thought it was time for us again to look at simplicity. Every now and then we do that, but we have to continue to do it over and over again because we need it. Now, you all know, if you want to learn something well, those folks that are teachers, if you want to learn it well, if you teach it, you will do better. You'll learn it, right? The teachers know that. Well, the same thing is true. If I want to live a better life and do better, I put it on my schedule to preach it. So most of the time when I preach in here, I'm usually preaching something I need to hear, and I just let you folks listen in too. I got to walk the talk if I'm going to do this. Now, fortunately, for simplicity, it's not really hard for me to do that because I'm a pretty simple person. I was kind of born that way, you know. I inherited my grandmother's frugality. So, Greg will attest to that. I'm a very frugal person. Though I'm very generous with others, I'm a very frugal person. And a little bit too much so sometimes. So it's not real hard for me to live a simple life. It's not as hard as it is for some folks. But even so, I end up, like many of you, with way too much stuff. And I sometimes end up being pulled into what society would want us to do, to consume more and more. So I have to preach this myself, and I have to walk the talk. Especially this season of the year. Now, one thing that, this is my dad, J.G. Altman, and this is very true. And actually this is what he told my ex-husband when we were about to get, when he first asked him if he could marry me. He said, you need to know, if you're going to marry Jane, that she gets everything she wants. She just knows what to want. And that's true in life. Would you say that's true for second husband? Amen. Amen. I get everything I want, but I know what to want. You know, I just don't. And my brother didn't get that thing. He wanted the really nice stuff that we couldn't afford. You know, I just knew what to want, and if you know what to want, you can get everything you want. So my daddy's right. But we have to learn that lesson over and over again, and learn to be not only simple with how we do for ourselves, but simple with how we do for the world. Now, I added, let me say that the title of this sermon is not just Simply Living, though. It's just, it isn't just Simply Living. It's not Simply Living. It's just Simply Living, which has a double meaning. And that, of course, the just part, meaning the root word of justice. That if we are going to live simply, we must live justly also. And sometimes to live justly and to do justice actually costs us more, not less. Sometimes we have to spend more, for instance, for those vegetables we want to eat from those when we go to the farmer's market than we might spend somewhere else. So it's not cheap living. So living simply is not always living cheaply, although you do tend to save more money if you live simply. So it is the season to simplify, but it's hard to. Even though we're asking that question, is it the season to simplify? Because right now, we're getting bombarded to actually buy more. This is actually the name of a store. It's not here yet. But there's a store called Buy More, where I got that little icon. So I've been getting in the mail all of these sale things. You know, pre-Thanksgiving sale, Thanksgiving sale, Black Friday. Black Friday starts on Monday or something, you know. All these things, you know, come buy more. I even got a catalog. I brought it today. Because I got this yesterday. Is it yesterday in the mail? Yeah, I got it in the mail. Now, how I got this catalog, I do not know. Have you ever seen me even walk into a jewelry store? No. I got a catalog from Tiffany's in New York. So I brought it today to give You want it? Teresa wants it. Pass that back. You can have that, Teresa. A catalog from Tiffany's. Maybe they got rings in there for $13,000.
You looked, Jane, you looked.
So not only buy more, this is what else? Buy more, eat more. I mean, Thanksgiving, eat more. You know, come on, have some more, have some more. Drink more. You know, I like a glass of wine, but now you're supposed to go into a party and have another, have another, have another. You know. Travel more. I get things in my email all the time about that too. You know, if you go somewhere once, you get on the thing to go, that you'll go again and again. Travel more and just more of everything. That's Verizon's new plan. More of everything. More of everything. Where does it stop? How does it stop? The TV preachers are in on the list also. You know, they say you can live an abundant life. An abundant life, you can have loads of stuff. Just send me the seed money. I'll pray over it and you'll get it, right? So there's been a hint. Even in church you hear, even in church, that you should have more. So how did we get here? Well, Dwayne Elgin says it's part of the advertising culture that we have. They have succeeded in creating what the psychologists call as identity consumption. A sense that our meaning in life, who we are, depends on what we consume. That becomes a part of our identity as much as being male or female or being from Statesboro, being a Southern, that what you consume identifies who you are. So some people are, and then social media adds to that, we want everybody to know who we are by our consumption. Here I am at Starbucks, you know. Here I am here, there. Here I am, and we got a thing from my sister-in-law that says, here's where you go on the third island of Hawaii to buy your fish sandwiches. It's a great little place, and when you're here, you know, okay, that's identity. So we have become known for what we consume. Here's what I drive, etc. And it's been intentional that this is what happens to us. It's been intentional. This guy, Victor LeBeau, was this retail economist kind of person from back in the 50s. And here's what he said. Our enormously productive economy demands that we make consumption our way of life, that we convert the buying and use of goods into rituals, that we seek our spiritual satisfaction and our ego satisfaction in consumption. We need things consumed, burned up, worn out, replaced, and discarded at an increasing rate. And he wasn't saying this to be critical. He was saying this is what we need for our economy to keep moving the way it is. We need to buy more, consume more, discard more. And of course, what's that gotten us into? Well, you know, there are even people, this is a real thing now people talk about. You heard of this? Shopping therapy or retail therapy. I mean, there are things all over. Retail therapy. If you feel depressed, go out and put more on your credit card. If you need therapy, go to a therapist. That's money well spent. You know? But this is what they're encouraging people to do. You feel a little down today? Go shopping. Go shopping. See how happy she is right now? Love it. And even in our housing, look at how this has changed. Now, our families aren't any bigger.
They're smaller.
Yeah, they're smaller. Average size house in 1950, that was the year I was born, was 1,000 square feet. 1970, it was 1,500 square feet, and in the year 2000, it was 2,200 square feet. And you're right, we have fewer people living in them.
It's 2,400 now.
And it's 2,400 now. Average house size. So we can have and hold more stuff. We don't have more people in there. We just want more room for more stuff. Big business, of course, now is also storage units. We have more. We have enough storage units in America. We could all get in them. I mean, if they took the stuff out. We have you know, it's a big business because you don't even have to, even with the big house, you don't have enough room for your stuff, so you gotta go store it somewhere. But we have learned, of course, most of us have figured out, that more is not better. In fact, it adds more complexity to things. You've got more to dust, more to clean, more to keep up with, more to deal with, more to pay for. It stresses you out. Now, the happiness people, Greg reads about this stuff, there are people that do research on happiness. They say, yes, you know, what you have and what you make, the money you make can correlate with happiness up to a certain point. That you have enough to pay your bills, that you can eat, that you can have a roof over your heads. Happiness up to a certain point you do need enough. But after that, it doesn't make any difference. And in fact, may go opposed to your happiness because you may get too stressed out. So this is the thing that if I was going to have to tattoo, I think I would have tattooed on me. But the problem with that is they say once you get one tattoo, you want more. My son has them all over his body, so I'm not going to get that tattoo, but I think that's a good little symbol for us to remember. We need to move to simplicity if we haven't already. Now, most of us think, well, we've done some of that. You know, I'm trying to be good like Thoreau would say it's about time that we move to simplicity. But it's hard. It's hard. Even if we try, we sometimes get into that spin of fulfilling other people's wants and desires. Well, what we think other people want us to do. There's a thing called voluntary simplicity. Now, this grew a lot in the 70s. In the 70s, people were sort of, okay, well, let's try to simplify. Something happened in the 80s. We went all materialistic again. In the 90s, we got a little bit more into it. After 2011, of course, our then president said go shop, but there were people that said, no, we need to simplify. And so now some folks are encouraging it again. But it's not as big as I think it was in the 70s. You don't hear as much about trying to live a simple life. This man named George Gerbner has something called cultivation theory he talks about. He was born in Budapest and he immigrated to the U.S. He died in 2005. And I find what he says interesting about this. And why we may be like we are. He says to control a nation, you don't have to control its laws or its military. All you have to do is control who tells the nation its stories. And I think that is what has happened to us. Because the stories we are being told by television, newspapers, and the internet are telling us, are pulling us into this. An example he gives is the mean world syndrome. And this developed because our continuous exposure portrayed this over time, what a mean world this is. There's an article actually in the Statesboro paper about how mean it is that Greg was telling me about. He wrote a letter to the editor, I think, this morning saying, no, it's not that mean. Here, this violence and things are down. But the idea is pulling us into everything is mean and bad. Well, of course, also, who tells the stories about what we should do with our lives in terms of consumption? It's not us. I'm here telling you this story, but there are not that many of us in here. We're getting it from other media sources, telling us that we need to consume all these things. And so, the other example is that more is better. More is better. Especially as demonstrated through things like reality TV. If you watch I don't know if you know about reality TV, I sometimes clicking through will see these things. But if you watch some of these families like the Kardashians, you know, or the Jersey, whatever it is, I mean, everything on those shows is related to materialism. Everything. And that's what our young folks are watching. And my younger son was telling me at his place of work that they were listening to this gangster rap, which is pretty good rap music, you know, you kind of go on. But he said the whole thing, they bought totally into stuff. Having more women, more jewelry, more cars. Isn't this sad? That's what they, you know, if you're successful, that's what defines you, is having all these things. So, how about us? Unitarian Universalists. We say, well, we've been dealing with this. We've known this for some time, and we've known also that if we don't simplify, we're destroying our world. So we've been working on this, and we pat ourselves on the back. Some of us have bought Priuses. Some of us ran the Prius into a deer this past weekend. But, so driving the mama's big Buick out there, Greg said this morning, are you embarrassed to drive the big Buick to Union Church? I said, no, I'll do it this one. So, UUs have been trying, but it's the kind of thing that you can't just do one time. Now, Will McIntosh came many years ago and gave us a talk about simplifying. He told how many shirts he had in his closet. And it was just embarrassing to him. So he went and cleared out his shirts. Well, I went home and I counted mine. I said, this is embarrassing. I got to do something different. So then I called myself simplifying. Okay, I've done it, right? But it's not that kind of thing. It's kind of like if you have tonsillitis, okay, you can go and get your tonsils out. And then you have no more tonsillitis. But leading a simple life and fighting this consumerism and materialism disease is not like that. It's more like gingivitis. You can't just do it one time and it be done. You have to floss every day. You know, you have to keep it up, keep it up. So that's why I'm preaching the sermon. I know you all have addressed this before, we've addressed it before, but it's the kind of thing we have to be reminded of and continually do. Now there's a lot of help for this. I like Wayne Elgin's book, but I've read these others too. And there are many, many more. On the internet there are all these steps and rules and different programs. You've got 9-step, 10-step, 12-step programs you can get into to help you simplify and organize. There's lots and lots of help you can read about, you know. In fact, so much so that I got overwhelmed with it. And like, here I am trying to write a sermon on simplicity, and I'm getting overwhelmed with how to keep it simple. So instead of me giving you any of those lists, I thought I'm just going to turn to this. This is what I'm turning to. WWJD. What would Jane do? I won't pretend to know what's in Jesus' head, although I think he lives a pretty simple life. So I'm going to just tell you a few of the things. These are some 5 plain Jane tips. These are some things I've done or tried to do. 1, get rid of the clothes you seldom wear. I mean, my closet's got them again. I got to do it again. Including those jeans that you might fit in again one day. No, if you get that small again, you can just go buy you some more. Okay. Just get rid of the stuff you don't wear. And there's a Farmer Fluff that will take it. You can take it to Goodwill or Retails or Habitat won't take clothes, will it?
Friends is another one.
Yes. And so there are many places that will take this, and other people can enjoy these things that you don't wear. Here's a couple of things that are related I do. I wear mostly used clothing. That way I don't put anything else in the environment, you know. And I found out by wearing used clothing I can get nicer clothes. I can afford a lot nicer clothes because people give a lot of good stuff away. And I can go in there and get it. And I can give it away too, you know. Yes?
I've discovered an app called twice.com, and they only take designer clothes, specific labels, and they have great prices.
Great part. So wear used clothing. And the other thing I do is I wear mostly black. Then you can wear white or another color. I used to wear the same color, then you can just, you know, then your shoes and everything, you don't have to have as many clothes. You can mix and match. Now I was told that black is slimming. So I wear mostly black. And I decided that since I like to wear black, when I retired from Georgia Southern, I decided I'd become a minister. It was that or an undertaker. I was going to be undertaker or a minister. So I decided I would be a minister, and then that's all right to wear mostly black. Number 2, if you have a large yard like I do, give some of it back to God. She'll take good care of it. That's what I did after I was divorced in '98. I had more cleared off and kept. I thought, I can't keep all this. So I gave some of it back. Probably need to give a little more back, you know. But she's taking good care of it. And number 3, make a commitment about your diet that is meaningful and helps us provide a more sustainable environment and that you can actually keep. Make that commitment and try to follow it. And that's different things for different people. But we've had sermons on those kinds of things before. And here we are, this picture I took at the farmer's market. The good news is if it's good for the environment, it's also better for you usually. So, two good things at one time. Number 4, some of you may agree with me and some may not on this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Cut yourself a little slack. And if you have to go to Walmart every now and then, it's okay. Sometimes the thing you need is there and you can't find it anywhere. You can go into Walmart. Now, I walk into Walmart, it reminds me of when I was a Baptist and people used to go in the liquor store. Oh, well, somebody see me in here. So, but think about that. Of course, if somebody else from the Baptist church saw you in the liquor store, you saw them too. So I quit worrying about it. If I need to go, I just go. I even had to go in Hobby Lobby one time to get some colored sand for us to use here at church. I mean, I didn't like it, but I said, you know, I will be forgiven, and so cut yourself a little slack on these things. Now, I try to defend myself on the Walmart trip every now and then. I told Greg, I said, I saw that Walmart is extending spousal benefits to their gay and lesbian employees, to their partners, gay and lesbian employees. Greg says, what benefits? I said, well, if they had benefits, they would extend it. Yeah. And number 5, last but not least, have a happy Thanksgiving and a merry little Christmas. Don't get pulled into that Christmas machine that stresses everybody out. It's just not worth it. And why are you doing it? Now, if you're the kind of person that just enjoys sending cards out to everybody and enjoys shopping and buying presents for everybody, go for it. But if it stresses you out, why are you doing it? We don't need it. We don't need it. Have a simple Christmas. Try just giving experiences to people. Give them a hug. Give them some love. And I guarantee you, even your grandchildren don't mind if you just give them money. You know? It's okay. You don't have to stress out with this stuff. So have yourself a merry little Christmas. A merry little Christmas. And last but not least, before the offertory, you have to be getting ready for that. When true simplicity is gained, we bow and we turn, we shan't be ashamed. We turn, will be our delight, till by turning, we come around.